So, little love. So, last time I talked to you, I shared with you how I really believe that um, we're not here to save the world. We're here to save ourselves. And by saving ourselves, we then save the world. And a number of people have said things like that over time, but I believe it so strongly. And so, one of those ways, or some of those ways we can do that, is through being creative. And I know for me, creating art um, and writing, being a writer, being an artist, is also, it gives me tremendous life. And then when I'm teaching workshops and helping other people do the art the way that I teach and helping them to solve problems and moving through what it is, and I see what they do with the art that they create, it's an astounding thing to observe their process and how they do something entirely different than I do, but they do something absolutely incredibly unique just to their own likings and sometimes coming from where they live in the world, which is different certainly than where I live here in Colorado. But I know that creativity is a way in which is constantly moving us into a greater sense of our very being. And we step into that in ways of painting, drawing, certainly different types of that type of art where it's an expression of ourselves through, uh, all kinds of things that I've done. I mean, I have watercolors I've painted around here and all kinds of different great big paintings, little tiny paintings, certainly the kind of thing that I've done behind me, which is a mandala. But I've done all kinds of different types of art since I was very, very young. And still, it just is just a smidgen of what there is to do out there. But one of the things I also love to do is I love going to the theater. I love going to the opera because I cannot carry a tune. So I go to a musical or I go to the opera and hear these incredibly talented people who are from all over the world sharing their talents with us and their gifts with us. And fills me with not just joy, but wonder and awe of what it is that they're able to do. I also enjoy good television shows. I love good television series and movies, and I'm just inspired by the actors and of course, everything it must take. I have no idea what it takes to create such programs, but I'm so inspired by what people do and how they step into this way of being this creative aspect of themselves, and they become a different character, and they have created this way that has become. So many of us follow what they do and we are so inspired and it becomes part of our lives. These people almost become like family to us. And so anyway, that's what we do when we go to a museum and we see beautiful art and it inspires us. And the thing about the arts and theater and music and even television shows, I watch a lot of television shows that are of a different language. And then I read it in English because then it's more real because I'm listening to the language and I'm watching them speak their own language and express themselves like they normally would in their own country. And it's inspiring to me. I like it. So lots of different ways we could do this, right? But the point is that it's all creative, and it inspires me to become even more creative myself. So this week I've had the flu, kind of segueing to a different subject here, but it's kind of what's brought me back to what it is I'm saying today. I've started out on Monday with just everything you can think of the flu as being, and then it ended up with headaches and body aches, and I was tremendously tired, and I would be sleeping, much longer than I normally do and taking afternoon naps, which I don't normally do because I just had to get myself back on track again. It threw me way off to the point of where I would be making all kinds of mistakes in different things I was doing. I go to do something in a normal way and I'd drop it on the floor or I'd bump into something because I was just off kilter from having had this flu. So I spent a lot of time in the quiet this week. I spent a lot of time going outside and looking at the stars. I spent a lot of time meditating, listening to or reading things that were inspiring to me. And it just got me to thinking more about who I am and being an artist, being a writer, doing what it is I do to teach art online. And it caused me to really tap in even deeper to who I truly am and to step into that with even greater fervor than I have before. And so I come to you today to say, I'm here to be a creative life force on the planet, which I believe you are too in your own way. And so I know that when we step into that and we go about doing what we do creatively, it could be at your 9 to 5 job that's in a brick and mortar store or a brick and mortar business or an office or with a group of people or at home by yourself, being creative and doing something creative and different and unique. Just step away from whatever's going on with you or step away from a problem that you might have and just breathe deeply, get yourself centered, and you'll come back to this place of creativity that is really even more insightful, and you'll be able to solve the problems. And certainly working with other people and certainly using our computers and our phones and whatever that might be, we might come to an even better solution because we're coming from a creative mindset of looking for something even greater, a greater way of being. So step into this creativity of who you are because you are magnificent. You are meant to be uh, one with the aspect, this creative life force of which is greater than you, but it is also a manifestation of you on this planet. And when we look at what it is we can do with a greater sense of who we are, we can also recognize that in other people. We can recognize it in the plant kingdom, in the animal kingdom, and work alongside and with all of that to become even greater creators on saving the world and becoming something where we save ourselves, where we save the planet. But again, it comes from within us. So I just invite you to kind of look at this way of who you are and find out where you are creative, where you are a wonder in the world, where it is that you can take what it is that you do and then share it with the world, being in service of, with others too, with others, for others, on behalf of others, because it's in service to yourself. And so I always end our talks with the same thing because to me, everything comes from love. And so I just end it again today, letting you know in the way my grandmother always ended our talks. Love you bunches. Bye for now.